You would be amazed at how many times I've seen people who have a chance to platform themselves or a project or product that they have only to squander the opportunity due to a lack of foresight. And that's where 3 words really come in for me: anticipation, preparation, and execution. This mentality has benefited me tremendously, and I offer it to you. But before I fully dive into what that means, let me just kind of explain what I mean about a missed opportunity. So, not too long ago, there was a group presenting this incredible film pitch, and I was really captivated. I know I wasn't the only one. It was a room of about, let's say, 50 people. Not too many people, but good people. And one of their goals that they highlighted was that by the end of the year, they wanted to get 2 million subscribers on YouTube. Now, that's a very, very lofty goal, especially, in a relative short time frame. Maybe like 6-8 months, give or take. But even if it was a year, even if it was that's still a really big number that very few people hit. And here was an opportunity where you have 50 people, far off from 2 million, but you got to start somewhere. And they didn't have their YouTube channel set up at all. So even if they didn't have anything on this YouTube channel, just having it set up so people could subscribe right then and there, so that way when they were ready to launch, myself and other people would be subscribed, that is taking advantage of an opportunity. Except they didn't do that because they didn't have it ready. They didn't anticipate, therefore they didn't prepare, and then they couldn't execute. So that's just an example of it. This goes in all kinds of things. Sometimes you see people not prepared on Shark Tank, right? That's a great TV show that I really enjoy and learn a lot from in that capacity, right? Even other competition shows, right? There's all kinds of examples of just people missing the mark. A simple example of this is you hand in a pitch deck or presentation, whatever, and it has no contact information. So this could be sent out to other people, this could be passed along, except no one knows who to contact because there's no contact information. So this is what I'm talking about, just silly mistakes of this kind. And that's where anticipation, preparation, and execution comes into play. So this is both public facing as well as if you had to do a private pitch for, again, a project or a product. Anticipate what questions might be asked, what might be beneficial for you to have, and, just really take stock of what is this opportunity and what's the best way to maximize the potential of that opportunity so that it's not wasted. And listen, you might not be able to take advantage of every component of it. So really just think about, okay, what are the core elements that if we walk away with nothing, what do we want to get? Right? In the case, the first case that I gave of the YouTube channel, okay, fine. Maybe let's say you don't have time to build a YouTube and stuff like that. But maybe there's a website. Maybe there's just an email capture place of hey, go to this link, type in your email, and we'll notify you as updates come. Maybe it's a social media thing, whatever it is, right? Just anticipate, if I do nothing else, what do I want to walk away with, right? So that's first and foremost. Then once you have the set of expectations that you're trying to essentially get towards, right? This is, you're reverse engineering it. What do we want? So now you can build a roadmap towards that. And that's where preparation comes in. So whether you have a few weeks, a few months, a year, whatever it is, this is where you start to prepare those things so that way, when the time comes, they will be ready. And so this is whatever it needs to be. Maybe it's creating graphics. Maybe it is creating that website. Maybe it's, again, a bare bones version of some social media stuff or the YouTube channel, creating a mailing list, having business cards ready, practicing and rehearsing your speaking, right? Whether it's public or private, you're probably going to need to speak. Also, anticipating what kind of questions might come up and having an answer ready for those, right? So really preparing in all the various ways. And my general rule of thumb is we over-prepare. So in many ways, just like in storytelling, as the writer, you have to know the entire world, right? It's the iceberg effect, where the audience is only going to see 10%, right? An iceberg that's underwater, you only see the tippy top, but it's massive underneath the water. All that stuff that's underneath the water is what you need to know, and you're only going to be able to present that 10%, but without knowing the rest of it, that the other 90%, you're not going to be able to present well that 10%. So it's over preparing and just, again, anticipating anything and everything you can, then preparing for all the various outcomes. And lastly comes the execution. This is where, pedal to the metal, so to speak, you go. So having those assets ready and now presenting them in such a way that you've rehearsed, that is engaging, that can captivate your audience and get them to lean in and ask questions. One of my biggest things in terms of if someone's really engaged is they start to ask questions, or offer up thoughts. Where a dialogue gets initiated. That, to me, is the ideal in any scenario. So it's those three things. Now, let's talk about some common mistakes as far as this. You want to make this a nice balance between simple and easy, but also no room for error. So, for example, thinking that you'll just collect business cards from people. Well, they might not have business cards, right? So it's nice to collect business cards, but what's a secondary way? What's a more primary way to do it? And the business card collection can become secondary. Or, as I've been kind of pointing out, waiting until after the event to build out these various assets. As much as you can, have them ready before, so that way you're ready. Here's kind of another sort of example of anticipation, preparation, and execution. The people that go on Shark Tank, they know, regardless of whether or not they get a deal, once the episode airs, there's going to be traction towards their website and their product. So they better have inventory, and they better be able to handle the traffic. Right? That's anticipation and preparing it. And then once the episode airs, the website can execute correctly. So I offer this up to you because, as simple as it may seem, and we can point out at other people that we may have seen of how ill-prepared they are, I'm certainly guilty of it in certain situations. And if you're honest with yourself, you probably are as well. And so rather than beat up ourselves over past mistakes, let's really just anticipate for next time, so we can build the 3-step foundation to that success. So that is what I offer to you. I hope you really think about it, and just as a fun exercise, think about whatever it is that you're working on and what can you anticipate? How can you prepare it? And what's the level of execution to be ready? And by the way, part of execution is also having a clear and direct message, right? You're preparing for that. That's part of the preparation is you go through various, what they call CTAs, call to actions. So it's simple and it's direct. And it's not convoluted. So what's the simplest form of it so that way people can know it? So when you execute it, you're not flubbing and things of that nature. You are giving a clear and precise message. So in that sense, to tie the loop in terms of the exercise, really think about each of these steps and how they apply to you. And if you're open to sharing, please comment down below or hit me up on social media at Phil Svitek. I would love to hear how you're thinking about this. And as always, the goal with that is to just create a brain trust with all of us of, by seeing this, we can create a conversation and everyone just expands their idea of like how to apply this. Even myself, right? Because you might have a version of this, of how you're thinking about certain things that I didn't anticipate, right? Pun intended. And so it would be great to kind of see all that and we can, really just expand all our collective knowledge. Anyway, I've yapped your ear off long enough. Thank you so much for taking time to tune in. I truly appreciate you and hope to see you next time.